Hey you, it's true. With a look at the new upcoming SSR Rapunzel, this light unit has a bit of a sleep touch, but is generally pretty universal. I think she comes with a high speed of 453, so only a few units get to turn faster than her. And what can she do with these turns? Let's check out her active skills. The first one being the Surgical Strike. 1 spirit production, 50 time unit cost. It targets one enemy and it ignores Guardian. So already off to a great start. If no enemies are sleeping, this one deals 100% damage and grants that attacked enemy the sleep status effect for 200 time units. And this is forced sleep. So even if they already slept while on the battlefield. However, if there is an enemy sleeping, then this deals 400% damage instead. Weakens the target and grants the user a power charge. Do note that if that enemy that she is attacking is sleeping, she will wake them up with that attack. However, the main selling point of this first skill is definitely already the ignoring Guardians. All these other things are good, but not crazy good. Keep in mind that there are no conditions for her to use this skill. So whenever there is a weak enemy hiding behind Guardians, she can probably reach them. Next up, we have an instant skill that actually gives 2 spirit and is called Golden Purify. Why is it Golden Purify? Because it doesn't just purify, it comes with a lot of other good stuff. So this one removes negative status effects like sleep, burn, or poison from 2 other allies, so not herself, and grants them either a sleep ward or poison ward at random. If there is a status effect that is removed by this skill, the user is enraged and allies gain 1 spirit for each status effect removed by this skill. So quite a potent one, only locked for 50 time units after use. Even if there are no negative status effects to remove, this already seems like quite the nice skill, but it remains to be seen if the AI will actually use this. If this is the case, I mean, you can see that the downsides are very limited to use it because it is an instant skill, 1 time unit cost, it produces 2 spirit and it grants the wards. But let's see, definitely nice to have. And the next skill is also golden bolts to be specific. This one actually costs 2 spirit and 70 time units, also targets 2, but in this case 2 enemies, 500% damage to them. And if she has a power charge, for example from getting it from the first skill, she will actually deal 750% damage instead, consuming the power charge. This is an assassin attack ignoring damage reduction effects. It also removes burn or poison status effects from her. So basically any negative status effects pretty much, because if she is sleeping, she cannot use this. And she grants herself the recovery mist for 100 time units. We already know the recovery mist from Yukata Ludmilla. A very, very nice thing to have for sure. After every turn, she will heal for 5% of her max HP. And also have a 30% chance to be purified for these 100 time units. She can only use this skill if she actually has a power charge, 750% damage to 2 enemies then, or if she has the burn or poison status effect, so basically then she can purify herself. Besides the damage reduction effects, nothing is ignored, but still a very powerful skill. And then we come to the last one. 2 spirit cost for Crackling Smite, and it is the longest skill that she has, basically 100 time unit cost, another attack that ignores Guardians, 600% damage to 1 enemy if they are awake after having fallen asleep while on the battlefield. This attack is a passive survival ignoring attack, so non-boss enemies that would be kept alive by some passive effect will not be kept alive by this if their HP go to 0. Obviously a very strong attack in combination with the ignoring of Guardians. Units having slept is definitely getting less and less rare, given that we have a lot of purifiers but also a lot of sleepers around. One question here is with the wording, because yes, 600% damage if they are awake after having fallen asleep. If they are currently sleeping again, this doesn't apply of course, but the question still is how much damage does she deal if that isn't the case for an enemy? And will she still use it with her AI to take out some enemies at hold ground plus? I feel like she might do that based on what we've seen from boss battles and also Percival's Royal Void. Let's move on to her passive skills. The first one being Golden Shield. She cannot be defeated by damage from burn status effects. She has a hold ground and she heals 30% of max HP on every ally turn. Very nice survival combo for sure, although weak to poison. Then again, if she gets the turn while poisoned, then she can use the golden bolts, for example, and purify herself, give herself the recovery mist, which will also make her hold ground even more powerful. So if she's poisoned or burning, she has the golden bolts, for example. If she is sleeping, then she can wake up by a sleeping enemy getting the turn, and she will also be enraged by this. Very interesting mechanic right there. That's already the end of the first passive, although it packs quite the punch, despite the short length of the text. I mean, you can see here that the two passives actually fit on one screenshot, so that is quite unusual. We have the Grand Takedown as a second passive, which is basically a deadly passive, but with a lot of things happening. Whenever she defeats one or more enemy units with an attack, she will be granted a power charge. A random non-sleeping enemy will be forced to sleep, and recovery mist for 100 time units will be granted to a random ally that doesn't already have recovery mist. So quite the nice effects for sure. Short and sweet passives. So we are already coming to my initial conclusion. I didn't finish a deep analysis of her yet, but I feel already comfortable saying that Rapunzel is a better pick than Water Sleeping Beauty for pretty much any team. The only slight exception might be Water Sleep teams and maybe a combination with Water Sleeping Beauty, but even then I feel like Rapunzel should be your focus in terms of getting copies. Yes, she does wake up sleeping targets with pretty much all of her attacks if she is not putting them to sleep, but her skill set also revolves around targets being awake again after sleeping to some degree, and she can chase them beyond guards, something that other sleep units so far cannot really do. Yes, we have the attack all skill by Water Sleeping Beauty, but this is basically the first sleep unit that has also brought a bit of a passive ignore to the table, a really nice skill in combination with the Guardian Ignore. And she generally just lifts your team up, there's not a lot of hassle with her, not a lot of downside where she could screw your team over, especially if we look beyond sleep. Some hybrid teams can definitely benefit from her, should have better survivability than Water Sleeping Beauty as well. The only glaring weakness in her skill set, but that one she also shares with Water Sleeping Beauty, the unit released prior, is Stun. That's nothing new for water or light sleep units, but just something to keep in mind, especially considering we haven't really seen a dedicated stun release for quite a while if we ignore the more universal Percival. Let me know your thoughts on Rapunzel in the comments. Stay tuned for some top level arena footage and the summon or skip review on this channel. Thanks to Helios for the skill animations shown in this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a true carrot. And as always, thanks for watching.